Hey, everybody. Welcome to the KISS podcast.
Keep it simple, sister.
Hey, Diana.
Hey, Samantha. How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully.
Well,
We're,
I'm fabulous. And that's going to go right along with our sweary affirmation later.
oh, yeah. We're integrating on the sweary affirmation, spicy affirmation.
Spicy affirmations.
Affirmation, yes.
I
So
forgot we switched it.
we want to welcome everybody to the KISS podcast, where we're all about feeling great by feeling better. And so, what we're doing is we're taking all the tips, tricks, techniques, and the products that Diana and I have come across, discovered, implemented, integrated over the many, many years that we've experienced life. And we've made these changes that make life so much more, I was going to say agreeable. And boy, that just sounds like such a letdown after that buildup. But it makes it more manageable.
Yeah, I like that better than agreeable. I
Yeah.
mean, it is agreeable, but it helps you not stay down so long. You got to bring yourself back up.
Yeah, yeah, and it has to do, like, when we talk about these tips, tricks, techniques, those are all the things that we say or do, the actions and all that kind of stuff. But then we talk about products, and the products are so important because they keep you buoyed in that state of mind that where you can. It's just another part of the whole support system.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Okay. Flip side, you want to go explain it and go first?
Sure.
You're good at it.
So the flip side for us is usually we're trying to pay attention to things that happen in our lives, and they seem like they're a little bit negative, a little bit contrasty, something that's not comfortable, something that makes you go ugh, yeah, ugh. And then how we can find a way to flip it around so that there's something positive that comes out of it, or be on the lookout for something we learned or something that
Hmm.
would not have happened had we not had that kind of ick moment.
Exactly. I love that. So what's
And
your
I
flip side?
so my flip side, if you've been following along, my husband, Wedge, has had two strokes. And then not too long ago, we thought he might be having another stroke. So we went to the emergency room, and nothing showed up on the CAT scan, nothing showed up on the MRI, which, you would think would be great. But
Mhm.
his balance was way off, and he was walking with this like weird little shuffle thing. And just really, I was afraid he was going to fall at any moment.
Yeah.
Um, and so the physical therapist people at the hospital were like, yeah, he's a real fall hazard. I think he would
That scared
I
me.
think he's a fall hazard.
Yeah.
Um, I think that he would benefit by going to the acute rehab center, which we've been to twice already with the strokes, and they did amazing things, like fabulous, fantastic, amazing things. So I was like, yeah, I think that that would be great. And then so when he got there, the physical therapist and the occupational therapist couldn't quite figure out it, like it didn't make sense, like he didn't have a stroke, but the symptoms and the way he was moving and his balance being so off didn't make sense. So they
Mhm.
started putting two and two together, and they realized that what was happening looked a little bit like Parkinson's disease.
Mm.
um, but he didn't have the dyskinesia where, like where you shake or where things stiffen up. He didn't have any of that. He didn't have any of the facial, like there's also like a mask that comes over where you don't show any emotion, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they said, for Parkinson's, there's this great medicine, and it's called cinnamon. And I thought they were saying cinnamon, and I was like, you mean you just take cinnamon and that's okay? No, it's called cinnamon.
Be amazing.
Be amazing. And what they said was it will either not work at all or it will work right away. We'll know right away if it's going to help with whatever's going on. So the next day I went to physical therapy, and the physical therapist was so cute. She was like, do you want to show off? He stood up, walked across the floor with no cane, no walker, no nothing. It was amazing. It was like a miracle. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh
that's
my God. But
crazy.
in my mind, I'm thinking, shit, excuse my language, Parkinson's. That's going to suck.
Yeah.
Um, so I started to kind of get upset about it and bummed about it and all that kind of thing. But then I realized we have a medicine that's working, that's helping him.
Yeah.
And I'm not available for any of the other symptoms to come. And I just have to get him to that point where he's not available for it either, because that's a little more important even than I am.
Yeah.
But I had to look at what was the positive of that. Like, what's great about this Parkinson's thing? They didn't diagnose him at the rehab center, so we go to his uh, neurologist, and the neurologist starts testing him for stuff, and he's like, "Strokes can sometimes bring on Parkinson's, but he's not showing all those things that I just described earlier."
Hmm.
So he diagnosed him, but he said, when you catch Parkinson's early, the most important thing is to keep your brain moving and your body moving. So the flip side for me was, if this is in fact Parkinson's,
Hmm.
we've got it early and this medicine works. And let's just focus on what we can
Good stuff.
do to
Yeah.
make it better, because they also say that you don't die of Parkinson's, you die with Parkinson's. So people have it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and it's just a matter of what's your quality of life going to look like.
Yeah.
His right now is, it's, of course, it's not exactly like he wants it to be, but it's so much better than what it was a few months ago. And we kind of have something to look for and figure out and work on.
Yeah. You're not just groping around in the dark. So that
Exactly.
is tremendous. And I think just to have something that shows an improvement, like to be
Oh
able to
yeah.
take, you said it was as a small pill, right?
It's a small pill. I mean, it's like just
And then it can
it's like
do
nothing. And he takes
that.
it and a half an hour later, but you can also see when he takes it when it's wearing off, the symptoms come back. So you see the shuffle, you see the unbalance, whatever. So when we went to his doctor, they were giving it to one of the hard things about this cinnamon and cinnamon stuff is that one of the good things is that it has all different levels. So he's on a very low dose of it,
Mhm.
and you can take it up to 6 times a day. So at the place, they were giving it to him at meals. And what we found was he wasn't eating his meals at the same time here like he was when he was in the rehab.
Yeah.
So we talked to his doctor, and they have an extended release version. So he started taking that, and that's even better. So we're just kind of experimenting to see, you know, what works, what doesn't work. But the great thing about this medicine is he's on the lowest dosage. So, we can go up in dosage, we can go up in how many times he takes it a day, all of that. So it's all good,
Wow.
which it wasn't for a minute. But I really, I made myself think, okay, what's good about, like, what's positive here? What can I focus on that's
Gratitude.
good about this? Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
I
I
like
was so
that.
grateful that they figured it out at the hospital. I was so grateful that he got the physical therapist and the occupational therapist that were working together. Like, they put their heads together to try and figure out what was going on, and suggested to the doctor there
Mhm.
the Cinemet. And sometimes the doctor will try it out and sometimes they won't. The doctor said, yes, let's try it. You know what I mean? Like, so it was a series of fortunate events, not unfortunate events.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
In what would be considered the most stressful kind of dark period that you guys have been going through, and
Yeah.
then, like, that's like a torch.
Oh, yeah, exactly. A light, a
Huge.
light. We're going
Yeah.
to the light. So it's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
yay, good.
Yay. And then there's other things that I'll speak of in other, I mean, it's just a snowball effect of a whole bunch of things that went down that I was worried about and trying to figure out. And this is helping us get to where I think will be really good for him and also for me.
Good. Well, yeah, and
Yes.
it's funny because sometimes we kind of, store these flip sides because there's so many of them, and sometimes we don't have anything happen one week, and it's like there's so much more we could share. So,
Yeah. Well, and we
I'm
haven't
sure something
recorded in
else
a
will.
while.
Y-
And we haven't
Yeah.
recorded in a while, so there's probably been a whole bunch of them that we didn't share. But
Yeah.
this for me, I was kind of bummed out and in a dark place for a minute, but I don't let
Yeah.
myself stay there very long because it's not productive.
Oh, it's as I'm about to talk about. Yeah. Totally not. But
Yeah,
it is so productive when you allow yourself to go there and then you get your ass out of it. And
exactly.
that's the trick. That's the thing to learn how to do. Um, okay, so with my flip side's going to move into the positive path, but I'm going to share a little bit of it here. Um, and then we're going to do our sponsorship. Then we'll move into the positive path. Um,
Okay.
so with my flip side, I'm going to set it up that I was going through a very challenging week, and I was about to say I'm the woo woo one, but Diana has her peeps talking to her now, so she's starting to get a lot of downloads, and just not as deep into the woo woo, but you're sliding in there. Whoomp.
It's a
Uh,
continuum. I'm on one end
yes.
and you're on the other, but I'm moving toward your end.
So we've had a lot of major solar flares and what they call CMEs, cosmic something energy. I don't know. I'm really bad at relating this kind of stuff, but the sunspots and then the solar flares coming off of it and
Yeah.
whether it's headed towards Earth or not, and how it affects all of our electronics and everything, anything that is energetic. Okay,
And we are energetic. And that's what I've
exactly.
learned through this whole process with you. It
Yeah.
affects our energy. And sometimes I don't know what in the heck is going on. And then I'll say something to Samantha, and she's like, well, it's because.
It's so funny. There's a site like if you say is Mercury in retrograde? Because some people just be like, well, this sucks. Mercury must be in retrograde. So you put that in as the search.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny because the site comes up, this one site, and it's just like in big letters, it'll just say, no, Mercury is not in retrograde. I mean, if it is, it'll say, yes, it is. But that's
Uh-huh.
all they have on the page is no, it's you got another problem going on there.
Well, and I don't even understand that whole Mercury in retrograde. Like some people are joking about it. They're like, Mercury's in the microwave. I don't know what's happening every.
It's just
So
another
I'm more
thing.
Mercury in the
Yeah.
microwave. You understand more about what Mercury
Yes.
retrograde might
Well,
be.
so these things, like it's already been very challenging if you're energy sensitive. And it doesn't mean that it affects us all the same way. It depends on where we are in our ascension process, or like just kind of what's going on around you, where you are emotionally, and that kind of stuff. So it, I've had a very challenging spring, and things were starting to settle down a little bit, and then these solar flares are happening, and like I felt tired, my emotions were off, I was headachy, I was like my body was out of whack, and there's just all kinds of things that were going on. Um so it's sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what pinpoint what exactly is going on, but I was not in a good space. And then through kind of a series of events, I'm not going to say unfortunate events, but events that were external, like it wasn't me, but it was happening outside of me. Because we're going to discuss this deeper in the positive path. So that's why I'm not going into it super deep right now. But I I framed a situation, I mistook a situation um, that made me feel like I was cut out. I was out of out of the limelight, out of the it's not even the limelight. It's like I was just out of the group. I was cast aside.
Weren't at the cool kids table anymore.
Thank you. That's exactly it. And I just went down this dark hole. Like, I guess I'm just off on my own again because I've been on my own a lot through my journey. It's been part of I realize now that's part of the pattern, not self-inflicted pattern. It's been part of my journey to
Uh-huh.
have a greater deep awareness and understanding of humanity, what we go through, dealing with emotions, and it's just my spiritual path. And so anyway, was just like, well, maybe I'm off on my own again. And, it's kind of like nobody likes my mom used to sing the song, nobody likes me. Everybody
Everybody
hates me.
hates
Guess I'll go eat worms.
worms. Yeah, I know that song too.
And I was just kind of like, okay.
Woe
And
is me, Eeyore.
yeah, and so it was over the weekend. So Diana and I don't typically talk as much on the weekend. And I just sort of cloaked myself and tried to get through it. And then we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm just trying to get through this. But anyway, I allowed myself to go there. It's very indulgent, like you're just like, okay, I'm going to really feel these awful, horrible feelings, and it's like you really, because the point is, emotions are, they're a signal for us. They're meant to alert us to something. And so it was like, okay, let me feel this. I'm indulging in it. Okay, why am I feeling this way? And then as the realization started to come in, because I moved myself into more of a neutral space, I became the observer. I was like, what's going on here? And and I recognized so many things. Like it's like so many lessons I was learning real rapidly about how I was allowing my external environment to determine how I was feeling internally. And that it had nothing to do with anyone outside of me. It was all me. Anyway, and then I'm just like, okay, I got to share this with Diana, but Diana's a part of why I feel this way, and I need her to understand. No apologies necessary because you didn't do anything. So
But
it's
I'm
like,
a fixer too, and you know that. Like
yeah.
when,
And first thing I said to you was, you don't need to fix this. And I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect for a podcast because we've all felt this way. So
yeah.
we're going to dive into this. Obviously, you can see that that's my flip side. Like it not only gave me this huge realization, it also gave us really good content for this podcast that we all go through this. We all feel this. It's just how self-indulgent. What are people's secondary benefit that they, like lounge in those feelings of, just
Some people live in those feelings and it's just not healthy and it's not good for you. And so part of the reason why we wanted to do this podcast is to help people have some strategies when those things come along and
Mhm.
don't allow you to live there.
Exactly. I love that. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I have to write down notes every once in a while. I forget things, women of a certain age. Um, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the sponsorship and then we're gonna jump to the positive path. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So we can't keep bringing you these uplifting, insightful tips, tricks, and techniques on how to navigate your way to a healthier, happier life without the help from our sponsors.
Us. Well, kind of us. I mean, yes, definitely us.
Who else?
I
We
know.
sponsor ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, so today the discussion is on Moringa because it is the number one product, probably. It is the stabilizer of all of this. Yes. So, Moringa is renowned for its numerous health benefits. It's just one little packet, has oodles of nutrients, making it a superfood. Honestly, it has almost all the stuff, folks. Moringa has been touting its health benefits for over 3,000 years. So, talk about timeless goodness. It's proven itself, right? And it's certainly proven itself to us. From boosting immunity and improving gut health to rocking antioxidants, this green guru is the ultimate green juice. Say bye bye to sluggish vibes and hello to a moringa powered zest for life. And I say all this, but it's like not just a spiel, it's like for reals. So, Diana, can you share with us what you want to say most about moringa today? Because you guys, there's so many areas we can cover with this. So it's just like each time we're picking one thing.
And I talk too much, so we have to narrow it down. But so here is the moringa. I mean, here's the more. It's called MorVida, but it's moringa and it's green juice. And we've all kind of heard about green juice. I never knew really what green juice did for you, but I was like, ew, it looks gross, swamp water. But it tastes so delicious. The thing that I want to talk about today is aches and pains and crunchy joints. So you mentioned women of a certain age and people of a certain age. we all I don't know about you guys, but I stand up and my knees creak, my elbows creak, my things are making crunchy noises and I don't like the crunchy noises and I don't know what's happening with all of that. But since I've been drinking the MorVida, I don't crunch anymore and it doesn't hurt. Like my joints feel so much better.
Mhm.
There's about a million reasons why I think this is great, but that's the one that stands out the most because I don't want to crunch. Do you
Yeah.
want to crunch? I don't
No.
want to crunch.
No, and if you just keep having that just once a day, it's giving you the goods.
And it tastes really good. I drink it in the morning, first thing.
I see, and I'll put mine, in the fridge for a little bit, possibly, it depends. I'll mix mine with kefir, milk, and protein shake, like, all
Yeah,
kinds of
like
weird
you get
ways.
all into the other healthy goodness. This is as
I
much
just wanna
healthy
get it
goodness as
down.
I can do, and it does great things for me.
Yeah,
Makes me happy.
and it really does taste good.
Yeah.
So if you want more information, we put the link in the description below. So if you tap on it, choose to purchase products, and then you select some. I'm not sure. They keep changing this up, so you guys bear with us. It might say, "I want to know more how Moringa can improve my overall health," or you might just check off like gut health or whatever applies to you. Then you'll be sent a plethora of information via text and you'll have what you need. But at that time, you can also go in and purchase what you want to purchase. There is a 30-day money back guarantee. So, like, give it a go, see what it's like. You have absolutely nothing to lose. And honestly, within it does take a little bit to feel the benefits, but I think my gut health was not perfect, but I felt it within the first couple of days of taking it. I felt that difference,
I
and
did
within
too.
2 weeks, you're really, yeah.
And
It's
they say give it 60 to 90 days to get, the full effect, but I don't eat vegetables. I am not as healthy eater and in general as Samantha is. So I think maybe I felt it even faster than she does because my body was just craving everything that's in there.
yeah, it's really good stuff. So give it a try. That is our recommendation of products today. And we're going to move on to the positive path. And so the topic today is feeling sidelined. We thought that was a really cute way of saying it. Feeling like you're not part of the cool kids crowd. I love when you said that because that's definitely some of the emotions that was going through me. So I'll set this up a little bit more so that it makes more sense. Again, I don't remember because I don't dwell on past things that occurred. I don't recall exactly how things get me to where I am. I
Yeah.
just know that I didn't feel good, and then I have realizations, and then so I don't I don't remember. Maybe there wasn't a return call. There wasn't something. And no, I don't think it was a return call. There was something. But then Diana was asked, okay, this is so silly. This is really going to sound trite. You guys, I'm not that trite. It's just this, the, is trite the right word? I'm not that, um, not
I don't know what
picky or
SAT word
whatever.
we need for that,
Yeah.
but I do want everyone to know it's a disclaimer. Everything that she was feeling was her perception
Mhm.
of what was going on. It was not what was going on
Oh,
because
yeah. Diana
I would
had no clue.
never kick her out of the cool kids
Yeah.
club.
No, it
Never.
was so stupid. But it was just this is how stuff happens, how we hear something, depending on our state of mind, and we begin to look for things to reaffirm how we're feeling. And that's exactly what I started doing. And so I'm willing to use myself as the guinea pig as a case example so that our audience here benefits from it. Um, but anyway, so she was asked to be on a call, and it was on a call talking to a group of people, and so we were on this call. Diana gets on, and she's on Zoom, and she's talking, and she's referencing these other people who are part of this tight knit group. And the tight knit group started before I was involved, like, and then I was invited in. And I'm trying to use like not be too specific just to protect
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
innocence,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, and
If you
every
know, you know, but
but
most
yeah.
of you don't know, but it's okay.
But anyway, and so she was talking about these other people, but never brought my name up. Okay, we're talking, I was being a very small person at that moment because, well, okay, in the moment, this is where my head's at. And I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so neat. Why isn't she bringing up my name? Am I not a part of the, oh my God. Like, I don't really matter. Like, it was so crazy, the thoughts. And Diana's just having a great time, just blah, 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 blah away and talking about her thing. And she's literally doing nothing to me. She's not including me. It's just she was talking, she was addressing specific to the question that was being asked. And so anyway, the call's over with, and I'm just like, I just don't even need to be on another call. I was so petty. Petty's the word. Um, that's not so SAT, but
That
that's
makes
how I
me
went.
so sad that you felt
No.
like that.
And that's why I
But
didn't want to share it with you because it was like, what the hell is wrong with me? And so I was taking care of my brother's menagerie of animals and stuff. He was out of town. So I wasn't even at home. So I was kind of displaced. I was running back and forth. I was spending the night at his house. I was like, everything was catawampus.
yeah, all
And
out of kilter.
yeah. And so I I remember I was going out to feed the deer, and I'm throwing out those grains to the deer and stuff. And I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? And and I remember thinking, I just want to back out. I just want to go off and do my own thing. I'm on my own again. I'm not part of a group. And it's okay because I'm fine being on my own. And this is it's so ridiculous that I went there. Okay, so then I get myself to a point of going, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. Um, and just kind of getting into that curious state of mind and going, why am I feeling this way? Where is this? Has Diana actually done something, said something? And I'm like, no. And has anyone else? Because the thing is, it's not just you. There was more, but I was just referencing you. So there was
Uh-huh.
more to it. And I started examining the other situations and I'm like, oh my God, this is me feeling sorry for myself because I don't feel good enough right now. I feel like I'm kind of failing on several fronts because I'm not doing anything 100% great. I'm under pressure because I don't have something done that I should have had done months ago. So this was all about me and my sense of self worth, and I had judged myself as a failure. And now I'm looking around for evidence that I'm a failure. And I find it because now all of a sudden I'm feeling excluded from this, the warm sunshine of this group. Um, and so as soon as I realized that, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to tell Diana. I have to tell her because it's not like Diana and I share everything. It's not like I'm going to, because normally I would hold, like back in the day, I would hold this aside. It would be my little hurt that I've worked through. And I was
Yeah.
like, but Diana and I talk about everything. And this could really be good for a podcast if she's comfortable with it. And I think, I think you called me after I'd come to that realization. Because what you don't realize, when you and I were talking, I was sitting there going through, should I tell her or shouldn't I? Maybe I'll tell her later. And then I finally said to her, Diana, I'm going to tell you something, but I need you to know not to fix it. This isn't something that needs to be fixed. I've worked through it. And Diana, to her credit, only once said, if I had known, and I was like, but you didn't need to know because it was all about me, nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And she listened to me describe it and everything, and you did such a great job just being a good friend and hearing.
It was like someone was pulling my fingernails out for me not to jump all over it and say, but, and we've had this conversation several times because that's what I do is I just that's where I go is let me solve the issue
Mhm.
Let me try and fix this somehow. And had I ever known that that was going on, of course, it never would have happened.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of proud of myself too, because that was very difficult for me to do.
You did a
So
really
I'm growing. We're growing.
we are growing. Well, see, okay, so here's the thing. If I am like masochistic at working on when my emotions are off, paying attention. Okay, why are my emotions off? I allow myself to go there because you have to let the chemistry run, let it do what it's doing. And then as it's doing it, then you can step away and go, okay, what's going on here? Observe it and then do something with it, right? Um, so there are people out there who they get into that wallowing kind of feeling, the woe is me, the okay, I'm not part of the cool kids group and I'll show them and whatever. And then it's like they're looking for the secondary benefits of being in that position. And so like when Diana, the natural inclination would be, oh my God, I'm so sorry, what can I do to fix this? There are people who will milk you dry on that. Well,
Yeah.
you could take me to lunch. You could tell me, I'm a wonderful person. Remind me again how wonderful I am, like, and
Yeah.
you're going to pay for this kind of thing. There are some very unhealthy responses.
Right.
And it's like, you didn't do anything. And somebody who is not balanced with their emotions could have taken you through the ringer.
Right. Right.
And that's the scary, so there's two sides that I want us to look at here, and one is being the person on the receiving end of that individual who's had you know this experience, this sidelined experience. How do you deal with that? And then also, let's look at it like if any of this is resonating with you guys. I would love for you to especially comment below and let us know that, yeah, you've seen yourself in that place or you're in that place right now. And how do you get out of it? Because
Yeah.
you were saying when we talked beforehand that this kind of thing can go on for years with people.
Yeah. It can. It really can. And the not good enough is a feeling that we all have. We all have it,
Hmm.
and I think it's interesting how you said we look for situations that prove that to us. And the thing that keeps hitting me in the head, and it might be the people talking over my shoulder or whatever, is the word perception. So if we all think about your perception of a situation and my perception of a situation were completely and totally different. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I can see how she might have thought that. That wasn't the intention. And that wasn't what was going on in the conversation at all.
Hmm.
So I think if we can kind of put the brakes on and stop and think, is this really what's happening, or is this just my perception of what's happening? Let me investigate that a little bit. And I'm
Hmm.
really glad that you mentioned it to me so that I could explain my perception of it, which I would hope helped you understand that it really wasn't about you. And what we all
No,
have
I
to
already
kind of,
knew that. See, that's a funny
yeah,
thing.
you had already figured it out.
I was already there. I didn't need anything from you.
Okay, well, and I'm excited because it's so nice not to have somebody who doesn't need something from me. And I think that all of us can kind of feel that sometimes.
Yeah.
But perception is a big deal. And so many times we think, oh, they think this, or what if they think this, or did I say the wrong thing, or did I do the wrong thing? And most of the time, okay, this is a light bulb moment. So let's all think about this. And you have to remind yourself most of the time, they are not thinking about you, they are thinking about themselves. They are not worried about what you did, what you said, how you acted, all of that. They're worried about what they need to do next or what they need to say next. And that's a whole nother podcast about active listening, because so many of us, listen to what the person is saying, but you're not really hearing it. You're trying to think of what you want to say next. or
Yeah.
what you want to do next. And what we have to remind ourselves is it's not about me, it's about them. Okay, so can I tell a story too?
Please tell a story.
So I talked to a friend, and she had the same situation, not the same situation, but she was saying, I do not know why this person doesn't like me. Like they're just not friendly with me. I don't understand like what I did wrong,
So you
what
can
I
be,
said
why
wrong.
isn't that light shining down on me? Like it's that warm
Exactly.
glowing.
And so I had a different perspective of what this person was going through.
Uh-huh.
And it had nothing to do with my friend, nothing. But the other person was so self absorbed, not self absorbed, but absorbed in a whole nother situation
Hmm.
and hyper focused on that situation. So much so that she couldn't be friendly and gushing and, all the things that my friend had hoped that this person would do.
Ah,
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
the external approval,
Exactly.
appreciation,
Yeah.
acknowledgement.
And I had other information that she didn't have that I could share with her and say, this isn't about you. This is all about this other thing. And I know the type of person that she is, and she hyper focuses. So you just happen to show up when she was all entangled in whatever else had been going on. And I kind of knew about it from some posts and some things. And I shared those posts and things. And I was like, I bet that she was just couldn't wait to sit down and talk to her partner about all this other junk that was going on. And
Mhm.
she kind of brushed you off where you would have thought, oh, she would have been so happy to see me and ask me about what I'm doing and
Yeah.
this and that. So it's not about you,
Mm.
it's about them. And so many times we have to remind ourselves this is not about me.
Yeah.
This is not about me. And she kept saying, I don't know what I said. I don't know what I did. I just don't understand it. And I said, you didn't say anything. You didn't do anything. You just fell into a time and place where she was hyper focused on something else and couldn't be focused on what she might at another time want to be saying or doing for you, with you, to you, whatever.
Exactly. So, it's interesting because, I was saying with like we're looking at two aspects of the story because for me, I'm talking about how nothing that you were doing had anything to do with you. It had to do with me and how I was perceiving. And you're saying to with her, I think that it's not about your friend. It's,
About the other person.
yeah, the other person has all this stuff going on and you're trying to internalize something that's not even any of your like, it's a whole separate thing, so it goes both ways, but the ultimate feeling is, you have been left out of that. I always say like the basking in the glory, the warm sunshine, the comfort of potentially true friendship or, inclusion, I
Or
guess is it.
somebody
We all
caring
want,
about you.
yeah.
Caring about you and what's going on with you, but they may not even know that you need to be cared for.
Hmm.
And so she was also, when you say looking for evidence of not good enough or not whatever, that's what she was looking for because this same situation had happened in another instance with the exact same person. And the friend at that point said, I didn't get a warm fuzzy from her. I don't understand why I didn't get a warm fuzzy for her. And me looking from the outside, I knew at that point she was also hyper focused
Hmm.
on something that had nothing to do with this friend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. But I'm also going to say this, um, is you're the fixer.
Exactly.
And so I'm sitting there going, hmm, you are actively looking for um, how to make people feel better. And that doesn't mean that you were just doing it blindly. You had information she needed to know.
Well, and I wasn't doing it just to be the fixer.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is.
But
And
you
maybe
have the
I see the
information.
best in people. I always have. And sometimes that's been good for me and sometimes it's been detrimental. There's your SAT word. Sometimes it hasn't benefited me,
Mhm.
but I will look for the best in everyone, the good in everyone until they show me that isn't their intention.
Yeah.
And I probably give people a lot more chances than some other people. That's just my personality. Um, but for her, I wasn't having it. And for you, I wasn't having it. Like, because if I can share my perception and that helps you wrap your brain around your perception, I'm happy to do that. But we have to do that for ourselves sometimes too. We have to
Yeah.
remind ourselves this isn't about me. I wonder what that person has going on. Like, and it's all, and good enough is a struggle that everyone has.
See, I was just sitting here thinking about it as you said that. I started going, well, okay, in all fairness, like I said before, I'm masochistic about it. I take it on and I go, how can I improve myself? How can I um, become more aware? How can I work through this situation? And I was just thinking, I really urge people get to that point, do the work because even when you turn around and say, like, if you turn around and said to me, I don't, but I don't feel that way. I meant to, you are included, you are important. Um, there is, what I'm talking about where there's this, now we're in a relationship that's uncomfortable. We're really uncomfortable in relationship to each other because you're feeling the need to apologize for
Yeah.
something you didn't even do.
Right.
And to make me feel better. And I'm feeling kind of guilty, like, have I made a big deal of something that wasn't a big deal? And, what's my problem? And now I'm making this person, feel like crap. And so it's interesting. Like, I had gotten a download back in like 2019. And weirdest timing, I was dropping my son off at college. My husband and I high fived each other. We're driving away, like, have dropped him off at the dorm room, driving away. Like, it's kind of a difficult driveway to get out of. And all of a sudden, I get a download, weirdest timing, having nothing to do with that. But they said something about that I would be involved with clear communication. It's all about clear communication, and that's ringing in my head right now as we talk about this because when you get into this thing where you're relying on the other person to clear up something that was your own thing you were going through, you end up muddying the water, the signals, because everybody's just trying to make each other feel better. And it,
Yeah.
whereas if you just take some of your own damn time, you know, and do the work and get into the realization of what the hell's going on here? Why am I feeling this way? Because the thing is, had Diana done something intentionally, like, oh no, we're part of this, and you're not a part of this. Well, then I needed to be aware of that. If that was the signal, I needed to be aware of that. So then I could choose, do I confront her about this? And confront is a whole different word than let me share. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
so, there's different nuances here, and I think most people confront and say, "You explain to me why I feel this way," instead of somebody just going, doing their own work and say, "I feel this way. Now what do I do with this? How do I clear it up for myself? And then is it something I need to address with the other person? Because honestly, I didn't need to bring this up with you. But since you and I talk about like if it was somebody I just meet on a casual basis, I don't need to go up to them and say, by the way, you made me feel, or not you made me, I
Well,
felt this way.
and also the other girls that are in the group,
Mhm.
um, I'm sure you didn't feel like you needed to share that with them,
No. Yeah.
and you shared it with me because you wanted to share what you went through.
Mhm.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about your process. So, like, what did you go through before you shared that with me? Because you were on the other side of it,
Yeah. Oh, you mean
right?
when I shared it with you, I was on the other side of
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
I literally didn't need anything. I was so excited to share it with you.
Yeah.
So excited to share
But
about
she had to shut me down because I would have tried to fix it the whole time and not even done the active listening and listen to what you had to say, probably.
Well, so what I did is, I mean, first thing was to allow the indulgence. And really, there's something I kind of go back to when we're teenagers, teenage girls. Oh
Yeah.
my God. And we have the tears, we have the emotions, and we know, like, the men in our lives would just sit there and go, "Why are you crying again?"
Yeah.
And a lot of times it was like, "I don't know, I just need to cry." Like we just knew, like some you just need those emotions. And I wasn't crying, but those
Uh-huh.
emotions just of just like, what's wrong with me? Whatever, like it clears, it's a clearing. It's a release of more than just what's happening right then.
Right. It's
It's
everything that built up.
Yeah, and you work in layers as you go through this self-development, personal development kind of work.
Well, and the
And
reason why I'm asking you about your process is
Mhm.
so many of us, as we get older, disassociate. Okay, I'm feeling awful. What can I drink? What can I
Yeah,
eat? What can I do?
it's a
What can I
margarita
watch on
day.
TV? Right. I mean, and everybody kind of has a different way that they disassociate.
Mhm,
Um, and I want to know what your process is because that's my go-to usually.
mhm. Oh, I
But
start
then
sitting.
if I can talk it out with someone,
Uh-huh.
usually I don't. Well, and I don't think it's a bad thing to have a drink. I'm good with drinking.
Yeah, no, 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 because the thing is, yeah, and it's not a judgment on what anyone's process is. For me,
Yeah.
my process was because I'd been taking so many hits
Yeah.
that I needed a personal evening.
A
So
personal day. You took a personal day.
yes. So I mean, I had some tequila, a top shelf margarita is what I ended up basically making for myself. And popcorn, and I don't know, a couple of different things. There were a couple of things in there. And I mean I went full wallow mode. Like I really let myself, I gave myself a whole evening. Like, woke up the next day, and then it was, at that time when I was feeding the deer, that I was like, it's just kind of like because I allowed myself to just like and it wasn't, oh, she doesn't like me anymore. It's just like, where did I misstep? Maybe I wasn't a part of it. Maybe I'm not like, but I'm not, and like I was going back and forth and arguing with myself. And it wasn't like I was talking about it the whole time.
Uh-huh.
Part of it, me just needed to feel the feels. And so I drank and I ate and I binged on TV. And again, I was on my own. Had I been at home, I probably wouldn't have given myself that much leeway.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
'Cause something else would have been demanding your attention and you would have had to go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but when I woke up the next day, of course you get a good night's sleep and you're able to shift and see things differently. And it was just this whole it was interesting because it was just a whole different awareness where I I was no longer in the emotional feels. I had stepped aside, and now I'm in observer mode of, now why would I feel that way? And this is what I know, and it's not like I had to do this whole tally sheet of what I know about Diana, but I'm
Uh-huh.
like, this is what I know of this situation. In what way does this have anything to do with what I'm feeling? And I was able
Yeah.
to pick it apart, and if I had found something there that had hurt my feelings, like, well, connect, I could have said, well, next time, could you bring my name up? I could have said that, but that's
Right.
not what I needed. That was irrelevant because it was totally irrelevant to your discussion you were having.
Right.
And that was part of the whole thing that I was picking apart. So I was able to just, I kept looking at each objection, each feeling, the statement of each feeling I was having, because I was in a very neutral space. So I was no longer feeling it. I was just going, now I said this and I was thinking this, and is this true? Well, no, this is not true. In my world, this is not true. I know this person that I converse with. I know her intentions. I know. So each thing I brought up, I would say, is this true? And you know, if you've done the work, you can feel it in your body right away. You can feel when it's a lie. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh no, no, and then you feel
Yeah.
great. You're just like, oh my God, so much better. And so I just went through and totally annihilated each of those emotions. And like that's when like I hadn't really processed that I had really released it when you had called me. Because I still kind of wanted to sit with it a little bit just in case. And as we were talking, I was going, "Oh yeah, this is my friend Diana." I got to tell her this. I got to tell her how cool. You know.
Well, and I'm really glad that you did because I would have had no idea.
Mm-mm.
And I want to do another promotion, self promotion for you that because all of us have this not good enough thing, we
Mhm.
might not even realize it. That's something that you have really helped me with in your spiritual life coaching.
Mhm.
So, and there are so many other things that go back to your childhood, go back to experiences that you had or whatever.
Yeah.
But for all of our people, and even if you're not a part of our Facebook group yet, we would love for you to join it.
I'm over.
But look at the a fire within.me and make an appointment with Samantha and let her help you work on some of your shit because we all have it. And whether we know it or not, we have it. And the not good enough, I never really paid attention to it, but now I'm seeing it in the like my friend's story. Like she was thinking she was not good enough. She
Mhm.
was thinking that she had done she didn't understand why
Yeah.
this person, wasn't as receptive to her as she had expected her to be.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with her. And I could see that from the outside, but it's harder to see from the inside. And the whole thing that you were saying is and I remember you teaching me this. What do I have to believe for this to be true? So tell us about that a little bit too. I don't know how much time we have, but I just think that
And
that's a really interesting way to kind of talk to yourself.
yeah, and I think that that's going to be our weekly wanderlust. So thank you so much.
I
Uh,
love it. We didn't know what it was at first, so you guys know she's writing it
I,
down because we
yeah, I knew
couldn't
where I
decide
wanted to
what we
go with
wanted
it.
to do.
Well, so I had a client this morning before our podcast, and it was, like people come to me for intuitive guidance work, and I try to make sure they understand that even when I'm doing the spiritual life coaching, it's still information coming through. Like I want to write down the stuff because I'm going,
Uh-huh.
oh wow, that's a new thought. Okay.
Well, and you haven't really discussed or explained the download process. So maybe that's another podcast we
That
can
could
do
be
too. That would
another.
be cool.
So with this with this particular client, she was saying that, she wonders what is it about her that she doesn't feel free to just call up her friends and say, these women that she knows, hey, let's go drive to the city and go shopping. Let's go have fun.
Uh-huh.
And she stops herself. And the reason she stops herself is, I'm keeping it anonymous so that,
Uh,
if she happens to use,
is
you're the
she
only person in
afraid
the
that
world who
that
knows.
they'll say no,
Uh, um,
that they
well,
won't want to do it?
yeah, that they wouldn't find her like, yeah, that they're just saying no, that they wouldn't want to do what she wants to do. That they the way she described it is, well, most of my friends, are married. And, I want to go and do this on like a Friday or a Saturday, and they'll want to be with their husbands. And I said, wow. So you just made all of those decisions without asking them. She's like, yeah. I said, I know a lot of married women who really want to get the hell out of the house.
Well,
And
and that's what I was thinking. They might want to get the hell away from there.
and if you say, "Do you want to go to the city and go shopping?" Like, I'm like, "What's the bad part of that?" You know?
Right.
And so she had built up this narrative. And by the time, and I said, "So you're concerned that they're going to say no, and that's going to be reflective on your self worth?" And she was like, and so we spent the rest of the time kind of working through these aspects. It was really, really fun. I just love working with women on this. And it was so cool because by the end of the appointment, she was just like, okay, you know what I realized? I said, what? She goes, I have like 18 friends. And I just kept thinking of these three friends who are married. And she goes, you know what I'm going to do? And I said, she goes, I'm going to write down each person's name so that and I'm just going to call the first one, then call the second one, then call the third one. And she's like, I get to the third person and I think, I don't know who else to call. Like, she said, I always think of these three people and I start making excuses of why they wouldn't want to do something with me. But she's like, but I really have 18 people I can call.
Well, and all that wasted energy, if you think about it, like that mental energy of, well, why didn't they want okay, they don't like me. Okay, well, why they don't like me either. Okay.
Well, they'll
Their
have
husband's
something.
more important
It's
than
not
I
that,
am.
yeah, there's something they're doing that's going to be more fun, more important, more
Yeah.
exciting, or they have friends. Well, yeah, but you're their friend too. And you're
Right.
bringing something unique and different,
Yeah.
and they might really need, the fresh injection, every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's like, so, and then it's like, then all of a sudden she started seeing possibilities in a lot of different areas where she came in feeling stuck, like she didn't know which way to step next because of these self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
So it absolutely goes right back to where what we're talking about here, where, we perceive something a certain way
And
and
I
we,
think that it's amazing that you talked about when we were teenagers, because I do think that that's where a lot of it goes back to middle school. Middle school was horrible,
mean
junior high
girls.
school, whatever they called it.
Yeah.
But, like mean girls, like trying to find your tribe, all of that stuff
Oh,
is not, it builds up not good enough because you convince yourself you're not good enough. Well, it's not that you're not good enough, it's they're not good enough for you.
yeah.
They're not your people.
Or they got other stuff, or they just got other stuff going. I said, when you
Exactly.
ask someone and they say no, how do you know what their reason for saying no is? It might just be that they don't have enough money in their checking account at the moment that they're comfortable going.
Right.
It might be that they just overcommitted themselves this week, but they could do it the
Or
following week.
Or they feel like crap and they just don't wanna do anything, but they're
Yeah,
not sharing all the reasons with you, and you're assuming that it's not about you, it's about them. So, that's
exactly.
the message that I wanna come through with. I remind myself all the time,
Mhm.
"This is not about me, it's their issue, or it's something going on with them. I'm not taking this on because this is not about me."
Exactly. Why weigh yourself down? And the thing is, if you're sitting there saying it's about you, then figure out what it is about you and fix it. Because
Well, and
it's
for me, I don't give a shit. I mean, like, that's just like, if I was in that lady's position, I'd be like, "Okay, you don't wanna go? Alright, I'll go myself, and I'll probably make a friend once I get there."
yeah. But the world wasn't as friendly a place to her as you.
Exactly. Well, or
It's you gotta do
I
the
did
work.
I didn't have the luxury of wallowing in that, so I moved forward with it.
Yeah.
I know I'm good enough. You're
Yep.
lucky to be with me. Lucky to be my friend. I'm lucky to be your friend.
Oh my goodness.
I know I'm kind of full of it sometimes, but that is the way where my brain goes. It's not me.
Mhm.
It's them. I'm sorry for them that they aren't taking the time to hang with me because 'cause I'm fun.
Yeah, because you're gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
and
that's
even if I'm not, you should wanna come anyway. I don't know. I'm gonna be a good time because I usually am.
for a good time, call Diana. Put on all the bathroom stalls. No. Okay.
Alright, so we need
Alright.
to get to the spicy affirmation. Is that where we are now?
Yes, spicy affirmation. So I love this one, because after talking about all this, it's something that you can definitely integrate into your day-to-day life. Maybe you say it 100 times a day, but it's, "I'm feeling fucking fabulous."
Well, you know that fabulous is my jam. That's how I answer how you doing today. And you know that I love alliteration, so I'm feeling fucking fabulous. I mean, like that's fucking fabulous of alliteration right there. The other thing that I wanted to add in is when you're doing these spicy affirmations, you can say it to yourself, but also write it on a card. Write it on a, I love my colorful index cards. Write it on a card, or take your expo marker and write it on your mirror.
If I'm really needing it, like I really need that boost, I like taking, like, okay, I don't really wear lipstick, and I have a bunch of old lipstick. Like I do Burt's Bees, but I have old lipsticks like, Estee Lauder from
Yeah,
15
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago. And I hold those aside so that I can put, because they're nice and thick, and I'll write it on, on the mirror and just say, I'm fucking awesome or whatever it is I need to say.
I'm
And it makes
fucking
me,
fabulous. I'm
well,
feeling fucking fabulous, but I am fucking fabulous.
and I
And
love
it's not about
that.
me, it's about you. So handle your shit.
But it bolsters you to see it out in front of you. So yeah, even like I'm a big proponent of writing it. Well, you may want to put fecking, Fecking, or just F with an, you don't have to.
Or write it on okay, you want to see fucking? Have a good time. Whatever. The reason why the expo marker is a little bit better than here's the expo marker.
It's not
It's a
easy to
little
get
bit
lipstick
better than
off.
the lipstick. It's easier to get off. You just have to wipe.
I know, and I thought that
You're
was
going to have to get
brilliant.
out some sort of a cleaning solution implement to handle yours. Mine, I could even take my arm and wipe it.
No, I realized when I said that that was far more clever. This is just what I've done in the past.
I
But
used to
I'm gonna
do it
get an
with
expo
I
marker.
used to do it with my kids all the time, like on their bathroom mirror.
Mhm.
Um, I love you, have a great day, or whatever, because you're brushing your teeth, you're washing your face,
Uh-huh.
you're looking at it, say it to yourself.
And it brightens you up.
Yep,
I love that.
I do too. All right. So
Okay, so the weekly wanderlust is going to, because we jumped into the spicy affirmation because I felt like we'd kind of said about the weekly wanderlust.
well,
With
you
the,
did mention it, but let's be
yeah,
specific.
sorry. Okay, so with the weekly wanderlust, we're going to have you do this thing. It's about you, not them. Okay? This is about your feelings, what you're experiencing, their perspective, whatever has nothing to do with you. So, what you're going to do is if you're having the icky feels, you're going to stop and say to yourself, yeah, what must I believe is true about myself for this situation where I feel left out to be true? You do want to put in there what the situation is. You can not say it, but I think that when you do say it, you're saying this specific
Yeah.
situation, because when you put it in that specific situation, it's not as nebulous. It's not
Yeah.
like, well, I feel this and this, and then kind of this. It's like it helps you to lock in what were those emotions I was feeling. And
Well, and go back to the situation, like when I said go through what your process was.
mhm.
So if you said what must be true, what must what must be true for me to believe that Diana would do something mean to me or whatever would
Well, no, because
exclude me.
that's external. What must I believe is true about myself? That Diana would have ignored me or not mentioned my name. And so in that situation, I'd say, well, that I'm not worthy of being brought up. Okay, that's bullshit. I know that that's not true. Like that's just
Right.
not, that statement makes me laugh.
Well, and the other things that you told me is think about other situations where that wasn't true,
Yeah, that's more
right?
advanced. So I'm keeping it
That's more
real.
advanced.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you can do well because there's a process where you go through a belief tree, and
Uh-huh.
just kind of keeping this like just go for that very first thing. But yes, you're right. So since you brought it up, let's talk about that. If you're not really, like if you're kind of going, well, I don't know if that's true that, that I'm really worth it. That of course Diana would have mentioned me. I'm not sure, but okay. So what other situations has she brought up my name? Well, she's brought it up here and she's brought it up here. Okay, so she probably just forgot in this situation, or she
Yeah.
was so focused in on which was your thing. You were focused in, dialed in to exactly the question that was being asked of you.
Right.
And, I was not a part of that scenario that you were talking about.
Right.
And so, yeah, but the main thing is, and all of this is going to be over in on our blog. So you'll be able to get a concise wording of how to go through this integration process. But it's basically what must I believe is true about myself in this situation to feel the way that I feel. Um, there's several different ways you can word it, and you just kind of keep playing with it to get that statement out. But it's not what must you believe about the external situation, it's what must you believe about yourself.
Got it.
You're
Okay.
we're trying to identify what it is that you think you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're an idiot, and then it's just kind of like it's really, really hard sometimes to do it to yourself because um when someone else, when someone else asks you and then you reply, well, I think I'm not worthy, then you sit there and go, oh God, I feel like an idiot. It's really hard when you do it to yourself to sit there and
Uh-huh.
go, oh, I feel like an idiot. It's like usually you just want to go, no, it's not true. I'm not an idiot, but like it it's you're calling your own BS
Yeah.
is what
Well,
you
and I think this is a whole podcast.
hmm
So let's stay on the cursory, um, for the weekly wanderlust.
okay.
And then we'll get into that a little bit more, the whole belief tree thing, because I think that that's very interesting. And I think that people can expand on what they're doing now as their weekly wanderlust when you get into that deeper
Yep. Okay. That
situation.
sounds good. Oh my gosh. All of this is on our blog, which the link is down below. And so you can go over to kiss.afirewithin.me. So you can go over there and get a more succinct recall of this whole discussion that we've had. And then the integration is there. And then anything that we've talked about, the integration for the weekly wanderlust is there. And then anything we've talked about, any links, any products, any of that kind of stuff is all down on that blog page. There's also the link to the Facebook group. Come join us. We would love to have you. And there you can share with us, the results of the weekly wanderlust. And anything else. I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Oh, subscribe, like,
Yes,
comment below.
please.
Let us know you're there.
We would love that. All right, we'll see you
Till
next time. Bye.
Bye.